And there we have it. We're live. This is John Baxter at the Baxter Effect podcast. And we are at it again. Another exciting topic and topics that we'll be covering. And today's topic is the business of illness. And this has been known, and even the people that use the current system knows that this current healthcare system that we consider a multi-trillion-dollar industry is really a business of illness. From the jabs, from the information out there that has come out, even within the circulations of the judges, the Epstein files, and everything else, you realize that this business of illness is just something that people don't really recognize because they are not doing a deep dive. Although they may know what the problem is, we have an advanced medical system. We can look at imaging and see your bones inside your body. We can do gene sequencing and even, look at a live baby in utero. Like this is an advanced system. Yet when we talk about chronic diseases are a dime a dozen right now. They're everywhere. But in a system that's so advanced, the chronic illness is rising. Autoimmune issues are on the up and up. Anxiety and stress are forever exploding. And inflammation is everywhere. So we live in a system that is advanced, per se, yet we have the worst health outcomes. We spend 10 times the amount of the next country, yet we still have to deal with this endless suffering loop. And today we are going to wonder why, and the questions that will be coming out, why we're in this position. So in this business of illness, you got to realize it's not about blaming doctors, the physicians, or the people that are part of the system. It's actually the system itself, the structural aspect of the current healthcare medicine model is truly broken, and it's also being used at its full advantage. So, and that is the reason why we are stuck in this situation. I've spoken to the Surgeon General, and they tell us it's up to us as just regular citizens to press the message of education and information. We can't rely on corporations to do this. They will side with whatever benefits them the most. But for the average everyday person that needs truth, that needs to find an end to their own suffering, you won't find it in the current system that focuses on symptoms, not root cause issues or root cause solutions. There's just so much more money to be made in a system that just keeps this cycle going. And it comes to this word called system drift. That's why this system is broken. This understanding of system drift is to understand the characteristics of this system. If you understand the patterns of behavior and you understand this body, and you are the current healthcare medical system, you will understand that everything goes back to billing codes. This is a third party billing system. So that which means you pay insurance money, and in paying the insurance money, they will give you a $10,000 surgery if they increase your premium and your insurance rates to allow you to do that surgery as long as they can continue to bill you from one direction to another. Regardless of if that system has money or not, the end all taxpayer or someone else will end up footing the bill for your surgery, will end up footing the bill for some of your pharmaceuticals. This third-party payer system is unlike any other system in the world because most systems are first-party payer in the world, and some of them are like the current system of plastic surgery or stem cells or the advanced alternatives, these are out of pocket. And so out of the systems of healthcare, the most corrupt, the most outrageous is the third party payer system, which is done here in the United States. And this is the system that if you just paid cash, likely it would just be $100 or $50 or a couple $100. But when insurance gets into this system, realize what you paid for might have been cash out of pocket, only $100, but they charge thousands upon even sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for that $100 fix. And they bill your insurance. And so that is really why, one of the main reasons why this system, the current healthcare system, is so broken. Chronic conditions become predictable. And what is predictable becomes traceable. What is traceable becomes billable. And so they have all their stuff in alignment. They have all their ducks in a row, where if you do have a health problem, they're not going to fix the root cause issue. They're going to sit you down and send you through this gauntlet. The first gauntlet is to test you, how bad you want to help yourself and get better. The second system is after 2 or 3 attempts to position you into something more expensive, much larger, after not attempting to fix the issue, which would be a surgery or something much more expensive, like more expensive pharmaceuticals. In this system of care, the sick care system just basically relies on the billing codes to bill the insurance outrageous amounts of money. And for the end user, what's that mean? Expensive healthcare. Healthcare that never goes to the root cause. It just masks symptoms, and it ends up being very costly. It is super expensive. But in the world today, all this is about to change. No large system is structurally rewarded for eliminating chronic illness. So there's no reward system in the US or any other country, to be exact, for taking someone's health and getting them better quickly. There is no reward for that. And so do the doctors get rewarded for taking care of someone instantly and removing their suffering? No. It's a dangerous world out there, and until we start incentivizing proper education in our school system, and not spending outrageous amounts of money to colleges to produce the right results for a pharmaceutical launch. That is one of the worst things you can ever think of. Could you imagine charging a university money, the money that they need to run their university, if they produce results that follow this understanding? That's all that's going on here, guys. And what we need to realize is prevention is slow and it requires behavior and environmental changes. Intervention produces quarterly results. So the conversation always goes from the treatments to terrain modification. Let me explain that. In treatments, there is no real end goal of solving the issue. But to go to the terrain, your skin terrain, your psychological terrain, your gut terrain, your tooth terrain, your nervous system, your circulatory system. Going to the system cause of the issue is always the proper thing to do. If a pill worked, let me ask you, if you had to take a pill and you took it for over 2 weeks, do you think that pill really works in the end? Did it solve anything? Or was it designed to never solve anything, but to give you some symptom relief over a vast period of time? Never getting to the issue where you can maybe possibly solve this issue and never have to buy another pill again. So we find ourselves in this predicament here in the United States. And what we find is a lot of people feel like their labs are normal, but they feel like crap. Because the symptom of feeling like crap is not a symptom that can be isolated into some specific disease. There's no billing code for a symptom suggesting that you just feel lethargic, unless, it's at the level of just giving you depression medicine. But there is no answer to this. If our food system is compromised and the foods that we eat are compromised and our system becomes compromised from the food we eat, we are on a downward slope trajectory. And it's really this root cause issue of so many health issues that the most famous doctors in the world have already been changing healthcare during this last couple years in a positive outlook. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. The stuff I talk about today, it's being worked on slowly and diligently. Maybe not as fast as we hoped, but the interesting thing is that in this business of illness, it appears to be evil. In essence, slightly, it is evil because people are suffering. They are giving up their whole 401k on something that likely is not even the cause or the root cause of the issue. So, what we'll focus on today is the future of health will restore the different systems in the body, will restore the flow of this whole human body system, more like an instrument that's finely tuned, less like an instrument that acts like a car, or less like an instrument that it breaks down in certain areas but not others. Realize that when this body is restored, this body feels safe. The flow and the energy of the system it acts more like a highway, and the body is easily able to repair itself. So we're missing the link. The baby gets thrown out with the bathwater, and when we learn about the topics that we talk about today, realize the system of illness is a business, and we're here to change that. We're here to change that with humanitarian technology that easily can be used at home, can be used in a wellness center or a hospital. Doctors can use this information to diagnose their patients. Wellness centers and non doctors can use this information to get their systems back online, back on track. The symptom is never going to help unless you understand why it's happening. If you feel pain, pain is a symptom, and it's localized, so you know the general location of that pain. Wouldn't it be an understandable solution to take our symptoms and realize that it's giving you an innate intelligence to get your body healthier and better versus to abolish, to betray, and just look at that symptom as something you need to knock out. You need to stop. It's ugly, it's messy. And that's where I believe a lot of the issues happen, from the mentality of why our healthcare system um, is in some areas a great solution for crisis. You're going to die today, versus the long trajectory of taking a chronic illness or disease and getting better in 30, 60, 90 days. So really that's the transition we're looking at today. Um, Advanced and holistic health technologies that have, and when I use holistic and advanced, I'm saying technology that works toward the root cause issue, that gets you better, where you don't have to be taking medication the rest of your life in 30, 60, or 90 days. So until we find a way to bill alternative health solutions, if the insurance companies will ever allow it, which I believe they will, from all the waste, fraud, and abuse that's going on in the world today, including healthcare. The most recently, the HHS announcement that $250 were currently got arrested for taking over $16 billion in fraudulent Medicare fraud money. So there is fraud that's run rampant in our healthcare industry. Anytime there is large amounts of money to be made for little or no work at all, you're going to constantly see these types of major issues. When it comes down to what doctors should be focused on, the Hippocratic Oath, giving their patients the best outcome they possibly can give them by having access to all the health technologies in the world, that's where we see the biggest play happen. So, I'd like to go over one of the most important things you can do for your health. We call it the Baxter Wellness AI and Bioscanner. It's a system that takes 50,000 points of data from you, extrapolates all that data into our own AI and our own knowledge base, and gives to you on a silver platter all the information you need to get better, along with the specific information on these issues that were once a boogeymans, that were once unknowns, and giving it a name and a known issue so that you have targets to shoot towards. If you have a target to shoot for, and you have solutions to go and to use to go after those targets, you are simply witnessing the future of healthcare. Today, I'd love to explore, 5 questions. And at any time, please comment, share, like. Realize that the free scan, we're going to offer that system I just told you, that free scan at the end of the show. Bear with me, or just type in free scan in the comments below, and you'll be able to take advantage of this amazing scanning technology. Now, back on to the 5 explosive questions that everyone wants to know. 1, if medicine, let me start over, if medicine was so advanced than ever, then why is chronic illness rising? So let me ask that question again. If the current medical system is so advanced, then why is chronic illness rising? You ask yourself this all the time, right? And the facts and figures are honestly true. We spend 10 times more, we have the least health outcomes of anywhere in the world. In 1900, a wealthy couple could live into their 90s easily. Today, even with clean water and things like that, our life expectancy dropped. So why? So why, if our healthcare system is so advanced, then why is all these issues rising? Well, realize there's 2 sets of understanding. There's intervention and there's prevention. So to prevent the disease, you would follow a protocol, and then in the intervention of disease, we would realize that if there was a disease, the current model does a decent job at just stopping that immediate crisis, but they don't have a really good outcome when it comes to affordability, expensive costs, long-term repercussions from using drugs, massive side effects that you could literally die by utilizing big pharma drugs. And so the real chronic illness develops from being around the wrong stuff. Your environment's toxic. The food you eat is toxic. The 5G tower or the wire, the electrical wires above your house are causing unnecessary inflammation and higher voltage and heat within the body. And so we improve acute care dramatically when we focus on these long-term environmental stresses and metabolic overload. But the daily resistance can never be replaced. If you're searching and seeking for a root cause issue, we recommend you spend 30, 60, or 90 days on this specific topic. You get a AI analysis, and um, you get all your data scanned, and in that you get all the information you need, how to get your systems online, back in balance, and refute the big pharma understanding that You'll be on this pill the rest of your life because they diagnosed you with a disease that you can never get rid of. The current system is going to give you that answer, but the truthful system, the system that's always there, if you're present or not, is in the consider the alternative, which is the original healthcare understanding of how to remove and dissolve back these chronic illnesses. So, one of the other questions that we get is who benefits more from managing disease than preventing it? So, really, this is pretty obvious. Who benefits the most from this type of managing care and sickness? When you're managing sickness, this is all about the pharmaceutical money companies lining their own pockets. It has nothing to do with you resolving your issue or getting better. This game that they play is all about getting more billable cycles to be able to charge your credit card more frequently and make more money off of your particular illness, not solve the issue. Because if you solve the issue, there's no downline revenue stream to make what they're doing relevant. And so, when we look at this, you know, we need to realize that there are good doctors in this world. We're not out to undermine what they do or believe, but the structural system is so broken that we should actually stand up, speak out when we see these issues. It's not okay. It's not okay to pay enormous sums of money when you're not even giving the truthful, factual evidence of what it is and how it can be quickly solved. Some of my friends and close colleagues become functional medicine practitioners as doctors. This is one of the most viable subjects of today because a lot of doctors are understanding that they could use the data that they get from the findings of different technologies on the marketplace and actually do their job. Find the root cause issue, use technology that would enhance their body, their life, their mindset, their spirituality, their emotions for a short time, and simply just get over and get better. Is it that hard that we have to continue to have this conversation over something we intrinsically know is the truth? Another major question out there is why isn't lymphatic flow a routine part of healthcare? So, the interesting thing about lymphatics is that they only truly work if you're moving. How many people? I have a close friend that died from lymphedema. That's just swelling the legs from an overflow of blood in the heart. That extra fluid gets trapped in the legs, and there is no drug, honestly, that can fix lymphedema. No drug in the current system. It's either you're going to make it a point to walk every day and get circulation, or you're going to make it a point to just simply, slowly deteriorate while gaining massive amounts of fluid in your ankles and knees. This is a sad state of affair in America where we've gotten so lazy that we won't even want to walk to even make sure that this type of fluid that gets caught in our legs and the swelling that occurs, that we do nothing towards making sure to reduce that inflammation. And I've seen the horror stories of this personally. And yes, it is very important that we do something about lymphatic drainage. Lymphatic drainage you can get through massage, gentle massage, from walking, from doing cardio. And so we recommend that in this scenario of what you can do to get better is to do cardio at least up to an hour a week. Do cardio for 20 minutes up to twice a week. You want to do better? Do it for an hour a week. Get in 60 minutes of cardio a week, and you're simply moving that lymphatic system. And if you look at chronic disease like bacteria, mold, fungus, parasites, and toxins, they just love to harbor in places that are stagnant energy. That means there's no flow. The difference between drinking out of a stream of flowing water is that the stream is moving water. It's actually clean. Versus a pond. A pond has stagnant water. It doesn't move. It exists with everything else that it exists with. There is no flow going downstream, which means everything that's in there, it just stays in there. So lymphatic is very much the same way. We need to exercise, move this lymphatic drainage. The only way you can do this is to move and sweat. So lymph flow is could easily eradicate many chronic diseases. Just to letting the person know that nothing else can work. There are no pharmaceuticals that can get rid of lymphatic drainage. There are no pharmaceuticals that can get rid of lymphedema. It's at this level. So this is just another main topic question that, man, if the current healthcare system could eradicate, this would be just super fantastic. And that's what we've done with our MedBed system and longevity circuit. We cover this in detail. Check me out, John Baxter, the Baxter Effect podcast. Check up our websites, antiagingbed.com and Backstar Wellness. You're gonna get the basically foundational understanding that we are electric, our bodies are electric, and that everything is frequency. And by using this understanding, we can better target and find the main issues. And we do this. We set out for this a long time ago, showcasing you your top 5 major issues in many different categories. Lymphatic being one of the most important places to reduce your lymphatic drainage because all diseases hang out in the calcium pathway and in places of parasites, mold, toxins, fungus, and parasites. So, as gross as that is, we need to move so we can take advantage of the lymphatic system that we do have and in that feel healthy. And a lot of people ask, why do they feel unwell when they're considered perfect labs? Well, this is a great question. Did you know even in your vitals, if your heart rate is good and your respiratory rate is good, um, a lot of times they say, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Your health is fine. And so many people just don't believe it anymore. They don't feel fine. They're on the man-made foods. They're not even being completely repaired. They have a lack of energy. They have anxiety. They have mental stress and mental anguish along with physical body pain. And when you look at this, it's like, well, why aren't they getting anything else? Because our system manages symptoms. And if you give them a symptom that you feel like you just don't feel good, likely that's not a good enough symptom to diagnose someone. And the doctors don't have a true system yet that would, per se, make you feel better. So you are the only one that can make yourself feel better, but along the lines of using the longevity circuit. And in this system, a massage, I think a lot of people believe when they get a massage, they feel better. And so a couple pieces of the technology in our system is a vibroacoustic massage, different types of supplementation that go to the longevity of things, and not just surface action justification. So, what has changed in the last 20 years that no one wants to talk about? Well, I talked mostly about it. It's the ultra processed foods. The chronic disease crisis is about 70% of it. It's just eating the wrong chronically laced foods. And when you look at that, ultra processed, you are not exercising, you live in a place of higher stress. And these are all red flags that showcase that you're not going to be doing better. And there are a lot of things that you could do to get better. And that's why we do this podcast today. Um, Phone exposure, looking at your phone too much, environmental chemical overload. This could be anything from what they spray in the sky to the chemicals we eat and breathe, the chemicals in the air from a manufacturing plant down the road. Um, Stress produces systemic inflammation. So, systemically, we realize a lot of the stuff we do, whether it's the food we eat, it causes all the chronic disease down the road. One of the things that they don't want you to learn is fasting. Fasting is one of those things that bring about autophagy, which help dissolve back anything man-made in the body and to slowly bring your body back to purity. These are just just important topics that you can discuss. My name is John Baxter. Our website is antiagingbed.com. We have over 100 solutions there. I'm an inventor. I've created this thing called a longevity circuit, and I'm the pioneer of medbed technology. I'm a patented inventor. I've won a lot of major awards for anything from World's Greatest Technology on Bloomberg to being featured in the New York Times, um, and people doing documentaries about me as the future of wellness. We do this to end human suffering. We do this to allow people the information and education for a second opinion, a different technology that you can use with little or no side effects. That's why we do this. And I'd just like to say again, thank you for joining the podcast today. Take advantage by typing free scan in the bottom in the comments today, or clicking on the link here in the comments and filling out your information so that you can get this scanner accomplished so that you can start finding the protocols in our scanner to help you feel, look, and live a better life that helps you age gracefully, that helps you give you energy, helps to reduce your cortisol levels, stress levels, and anxiety to the point of complete health. You'll never hear this, but the realization of the highest level of health is among the medbed. And that type of understanding comes with many years of discussions, many years of getting people better. And when people realize that they're either getting worse or better every day, they really start to put their health in their own hands. And that's why we're here today. And I wanted to thank you once again for joining John Baxter on my podcast, The Baxter Effect. Please type in free scan if you want that. Please like, share, comment on your social media about this important news and endeavor, and how you learn so much from this podcast today, which is illness is a business. And there are lots of information we can share. Go to our website. But that's all I have today. So thank you once again for joining the Baxter Effect podcast. Your host, John Baxter. And until next time, have a great day.